doctor in that sense. Anyway, this is a taste of Dr. Savage. I suggest you subscribing to his channel. I suggest you going online, try to listen to some of his podcasts. Close your eyes and listen to them, possibly at night. That's the best time, I think, to absorb information. Anyway, here is Dr. Savage. Let me turn me off and turn him on.
Right now, because look, we're living in one of the most dangerous times in American history. I'm 82 years old. I've lived through the Vietnam War. I've lived through catastrophes of one kind or another, the assassination of JFK, the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., the protests against the Vietnam War. I have never, ever seen such a lying pack of scumbag fascists in my life that I am seeing now in this Democrat machine. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. They passed a directive which permits the United States military to fire on U.S. citizens while calling Trump a fascist. This is right out of Hitler's Germany. They are the Hitlers. I could start screaming, but the screaming isn't going to do anything. They're calling Trump a fascist. Do you know what they did? Do you understand what they did? They passed a law, a directive by executive order, which permits the U.S. military to join local police in firing upon arresting U.S. citizens. They're getting ready to steal the election. If Trump wins by a fluke, if they can't control the vote and he wins, they're not going to let him rule. They are ready to take over this country, lock, stock, and barrel. Right now, they have it lock and stock and not barrel. I'm telling you, it's the end of it all right now. I've never seen such fascistic scumbags in my life. Never, never. DHS compromised. Justice Department compromised. Military Department compromised. What is left? Tell me. These are the most despicable, dangerous criminals I've ever seen in my life. Now, I'm speaking out when I shouldn't, because I'll go on the enemies list if I'm not already on there. You better go on their enemy list. I've never seen anything like this. You are all the enemies. You are the enemies. These people will arrest you just for voting for Trump. They are like political HIV. They have a retrovirus Marxist mindset. So I've come on this show here now to talk with you just for a few minutes, to alert you to a number of things. I don't expect a huge audience. I don't have a huge audience. I mean, I have about 250,000 followers on Twitter, about the same number on Facebook. I'm still shadow blocked on both of those outlets because they still use third worlders behind the scenes. Third worlders who come from despicable third world hellholes, who are basically the backroom scumbags. Both at almost all the social media sites have these backroom third world vermin, shadow blocking, shadow banning people they don't agree with. So there it is. I'll keep speaking until God tells me to shut my mouth. Yeah, on Sundays I like to do God talks and stuff like that. And I love that. I don't know what's going to be left if they let this creep, if they install this cretin. You know, for a while I thought she was just hiding the fact, her answers, in other words. And I was actually saying she's not stupid. But I will tell you, she is stupid. She actually is stupid. She could not that she would not, she could not answer a single question at the fake town hall with that degenerate pervert, Anderson Cooper. Anyone who believes anything Anderson Cooper does deserves, you know what? I can't say it, it's a family show. She couldn't answer a single question. She doesn't know the answer. She actually is stupid. She banged her way to the top. She was selected by the Pelosi machine in San Francisco, and then she banged her way to the top. I am sick of her. If this mutt takes over the country, there's going to be nothing left. It's impossible to believe this country could be survived, that this country could survive a mutt like her. It's impossible to believe. I wouldn't mind a Democrat. Give me a centrist Democrat, somebody of some degree of accomplishment in some sphere. The woman has never held, never had a job outside of politics. Never. She was installed as DA. She was installed as Attorney General. She was installed as U.S. Senator. And now they want to install her as President of the United States of America? While North Korean troops are training with Russian troops to fight Ukrainians in a war that never should have happened, other than the fact that the scumbag war machine and that corpse in the White House, the useful corpse in the White House and this stooge let this happen. So I tweeted today a couple of things that are worthy of your attention. I'll go to look at them myself. I don't just carry them around in my head. Fascism, exclamation point. Under Trump, no wars. Under Harris Biden, 600,000 dead Ukrainians, 300,000 dead Russians, tens of thousands of dead Palestinians, thousands of dead Israelis. Trump, no political prisoners. Harris Biden, hundreds of innocent Americans in prison and their assets stolen. There's not one word that I would change in that tweet, not one single word. And they're calling Trump Hitler. This is what they do. They accuse that which they are guilty of. I mean, we've all said that for years. We see this. I think that even a fair-minded Democrat would understand how dangerous she is for the survival of this nation. I don't understand it. So now, yesterday I did a live thing called Kamala's Cracking Stucco, the big lie is falling apart. But will the big lie fall apart fast enough to save America? I don't know. I don't know. The vermin behind her are so evil, it's hard to believe. I'd grant her the Goebbels Award, but she wouldn't even know who Goebbels was. She may think it was George Goebbels from the television show in the 1950s when she was a middle-class child sitting on a living room floor. I'd like to read out a phone number, but we don't have one. We have comments which you can make. Can you imagine the first family of this in the White House? If Kamala wins, I may elect to have my eardrums punctured. That's a joke. But you know, the biggest story is the one I told you. I don't know how this is not news all over the country. I don't know why this is not screaming headlines in every newspaper. Kamala and the corpse, the Walking Dead corpse, behind the scenes with no vote, has given the Department of Defense permission to use the U.S. military on U.S. citizens, on U.S. soil. It's unheard of. It's unconstitutional. And this is what you're voting for, you stupid people, you idiots, you? Have you not seen what's going on, all you leftists who opposed wars are now cheering for war? You leftist bastards who opposed war and opposed fascism are cheering on a fascist government that says, yes, they can use the military against U.S. citizens, violating the Posse Comitatus Act. What the hell is wrong with you? Drugs, drugs, drugs. I knew what would happen. I knew it would happen when George Soros in 2008, yes, it goes back to that fucking devil, him and his fucking son. The Soroses are the worst people in the history of America, maybe the world, the worst. They doped America with the fake bullshit about medical marijuana. I fought with them. I argued with their front people in 2008. I said, you're just using it to legalize drugs. I said, decriminalize marijuana. Do not make it like candy. And they made it like candy. And America is now doped. The way the Chinese were doped by the British with opium, that is how America is now doped with marijuana. Remember the opium wars? You don't even know what that is. You're too stupid to even know what happened. The Chinese had been doped with opium, brought in by the British, who doped the Chinese, just as Soros doped you with marijuana, made pot candy, pot popcorn, anything to dope your brain up so you don't know what the hell is going on. What happened? How did they get rid of the dope dealers in China? Did they vote them out? No, there was a thing called the Boxer Rebellion, where martial artists in China got together and kicked the British out by beating the shit out of them. That's how they got rid of them. Wow. Study the Boxer Rebellion, and I don't mean Barbara, baby. I don't know what it's going to take for the American people to wake up. I see a brainwashing unlike any I've ever seen in my life. Never saw anything like this. She lies about everything. She's stupid. She's unqualified at any speed. She's never done anything of any value for the world. She's never held a job outside of politics. She's never created a product or a service that anyone ever bought. And you're going to make her the most powerful woman on earth? How can you do this? How can you do this? That's all I have to say. I have nothing more to say. I have something positive to show you, and I'm going to do this in a separate YouTube podcast soon. This just arrived today. This is a new herbal book put out by Janet Weiner, my wife, and myself. Took years, never talked about it. It's the most comprehensive book on herbs, vitamins, supplements, and wellness, something I've worked on for 40 years. I was well known in the nutrition field and the herbal field for many years before I went into talk radio, and now I'm back to this. That's all I have to say. There's nothing else to say to you. We are in the most perilous time in my 82 years. I've never seen anything like this. Sure, I did a podcast that's up called Camouflage Kamala and Her Big Lie. All right, so it reaches 20, 30,000 people, 40,000 at the end of the week. They say that my podcasts are reaching about 800,000 people a week, according to my ad agency. That's not enough people. There are people who reach tens of millions and it's not making much of a dent. The brainwashing of the left is so complete because of Katzenberg, Matzenberg, and Ratzenberg. Because of Katzenberg, Matzenberg, and Ratzenberg, and the vermin in the media, the other vermin in the media, the brainwashing is complete. First they doped you, then they beat you to death, then they arrested you, and you're still going along with them. Okay, fascism, huh? Hitler, huh? So here you have an administration acting just like Hitler, and you're calling the opposition Hitler, just like Hitler would do. It's one man's opinion. Never saw anything like this in my entire life, and I've studied politics since I'm a teenager. I don't know how much more we can take of this. She is a plant of the same establishment that has killed 600,000 Ukrainians, 300,000 Russians, tens of thousands of Palestinians, and thousands of Israelis. She's part of that machine. Never would have happened under Trump. Never. He's a very imperfect man, just as I am, just as you are. But I really don't care about his perfection or imperfection. Moses was imperfect. What I care about is the fact that he has a track record. She has a track record too, by the way. She's not an unknown quantity. She was a DA in San Francisco. That's when homelessness spread like a virus. She decriminalized pulling your pants down and defecating in the streets. And she told the police, hands off the people crapping in the streets. She has a track record. She was attorney general for 8 years in California. She says she took on transnational drug cartels. No, that is when they proliferated during those 8 years. Another big lie. And yet, you keep thinking she's going to do something good for America? She's a tyrannical lying monster. A tyrannical lying monster. Anyone who votes for her deserves what they get. So we're only a few weeks out from the enemy within. I try to warn you through 30 years in radio and politics. Before that, I was into nutrition and herbal medicine stuff, collecting plants. Don't believe the polls that Trump has it in the bag. If you believe that, you're as stupid as she is and her followers. Did you hear me? Ladies and gentlemen of the Savage Nation, you have one choice ahead of you. Have you voted yet? Make sure you don't vote for fascism. Do not vote for an incompetent fascist stooge called Kamala Harris. You want to be on a plantation? You want the U.S. military to fire on American citizens? Are you that stupid? You want millions of more illegal aliens bringing in more disease? Did you see now just what I warned 30 years ago, immigrants and epidemics? They're bringing in untreatable tuberculosis, strains from Africa, strains from the sewers of Central America. You want Hitler in a skirt? Vote for Kamala. That's all I have to say. Hit the like button if you want. Otherwise, I really don't care what you do. Goodbye.
So that is Michael Savage. He wrote the book, by the way, The Enemy Within, 30